Well, welcome to Thursday Live. It's amazing how quickly our weeks pass, and it's been 7 days. But wherever you are in the world and whatever platform you're on, maybe it's YouTube or Facebook Live, I just want to welcome you to Thursday Live. And we're always trying to make it better. We're certainly always wanting it to be a special, marked moment in your life because you've set aside this time. So whether you've come home from work and you're engaging, whether you're just finishing a meal or engaging, whatever you're doing, I just want to thank you for joining me on Thursday Live. And it's my goal to just give you a few moments to break away from all the things that have been causing gravity in your life and challenging you, and to encourage you just a little bit to focus on Jesus. And so that's what we're here to do, Thursday Live. And if it's your first time, welcome to Thursday Live. I'm Brad, and I'm just excited to have you and everyone else with us. And I have to tell you, I get to monitor all the comments of what goes on Thursday Live. And I just have to tell you, it's always encouraging to me to see all of you that aren't just gathering together this way, but you're connecting. You're saying hi to each other, you're praying for each other, you're talking to me, you're asking questions, and it's really encouraging. And I just want to thank you for that, because that's what this is about. It's not about a sermon. This isn't a sermon. It's not about a church service. We do that on the weekend. It's about just connecting with each other and encouraging one another as we focus on Jesus. And this week, I want to tell you a story, and I want to introduce you to someone, and then I want to take that story and what happened to the person I'm going to introduce to you and just make a spiritual application to our lives, give you maybe a little aha moment that can go into your week and help you focus on Jesus a little better, okay? But it happened. There's nothing I love more in my life than family. And for those of you who know me, I'm married to Roxanne, been married for 41 years to my precious wife, and we have 3 adult children. And that's awesome. I mean, my kids define my life in so many ways. I love my kids. I have a girl, boy, girl, Carissa, Blake, and Allison. But what I never expected was that my grandkids would add so much size to my heart. I mean, I thought nothing could get better than having kids. And then I had grandkids. And here's the wonderful thing about grandkids. It's all privilege and no responsibility, so it's even better, right? But this story involves one of my grandkids, and we love Mackinac Island. If you're not from Michigan, obviously Northridge Church, the church I pastor, is in Michigan. I've lived in Michigan most of my life. I was born in Michigan, and we Mackinac's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's between the Upper Peninsula and the Main Peninsula. You have to take a ferry boat to it, and we love it. It's just a very special place. If you don't know anything about it, you should Google it, because it's one of the few places on the planet where they don't allow automobiles. Transportation's all done with horses and carriages and, of course, bicycles and those kind of things. And it's just a very special place. It harkens back to the days before automobiles. And in fact, we love Mackinac so much that my son Blake got married to his wife Nina on Mackinac, and I had the privilege of doing that ceremony. And it was a very small, intimate gathering with just the families of Blake and Nina. And we were at the Grand Hotel. The Grand Hotel is this spectacular old hotel that's right on the coastline of Mackinac Island, and it's amazing. In fact, if you've never seen it, you should look at the Christopher Reeves movie called Somewhere in Time. It's all based upon the Grand Hotel. But one time we were there with our kids and grandkids and kind of walking through the streets of Mackinac, and my granddaughter Nola was about 4 or 5 years old, and we're hanging out with all our kids. But if you know anything about these kind of spaces, you know, the adults, we're watching fudge get made, and nothing like Mackinac Island fudge. And we had, there are different stores to go in, and people are all over the place. And we were all supposed to be each looking after a kid, but we looked away. I don't know. I think we got caught up in watching the fudge being made or something, Murdoch's or something. And it's an interesting process. And then all of a sudden, we couldn't find Nola. She was gone. And I mean, 4 or 5 years old, it was scary, scary, scary to us. Obviously scary to her. But somehow, some way, the police on Mackinac Island found us. And I can't remember exactly how that part of the story went, whether they found us, I believe. Did you lose a little girl or whatever? And we ran to the police station, and there was our little Nola. And she was sitting in the police station with police all around her, and she was crying, we were crying, and it was like, wow, thank God we found our little girl. But ever since then, it's been the family joke that Nola got arrested and was thrown in prison when she was only 4 or 5 years old. So, with that being the story, I want to introduce you to my granddaughter, Nola. And this, I have to tell you, as I introduce her to you, she is the very first grandchild that I've ever had on my Thursday Live with you who could talk. I have had little Bradley and little Benny. They can't talk yet on, but never a grandkid that can talk. So she'll be the first one that can talk. And she's the very first convict that I've ever had on Thursday Live. So with that, would you please welcome my granddaughter, Nola. Nola, you're on.
Hi.
Hi. It is absolutely awesome to see you. There's no way I can look at you and not smile. How you doing, baby?
Good.
Well, I'm I'm great, thanks. And I know you were able to listen to what I was talking about just now, but I just told them the story about you getting arrested and getting thrown in the slammer.
Yep.
And we have, I mean, you're like almost 10, you're 9 years old, and you have put up with for about 4 years or 5 years the story about being arrested and thrown in the slammer. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, well, it's fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as you know, even though you've been put in prison and you've been arrested, we still love you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let's go back to that story because, you love Mackinac too, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, the ferry ride over and carriage rides and all that stuff. And it was cool seeing Blake and Nina get married there, right? Yeah. So, but let's go back to that day. What happened as you remember it? I mean, you're with us and everything's okay, and then all of a sudden you're not, and it was a scary moment. What happened as you remember it?
I remember I was just looking at the horses while you guys were just like looking through the fudge on the glass, and then all of a sudden you guys were gone. I started crying, and then people on the bench called the police, and then they all came. And then they asked questions, and I was just crying, and I'm just like, I don't remember, I just want my mommy. And so then I just wanted to go see my mom, so I tried to walk away and stuff, but then they took us and took me to the police station.
Yeah, did they put you in handcuffs?
No.
So they didn't tackle you, put you on the ground or anything, they just took you to the police station?
Yeah.
Okay, and what did they do at the police station?
Well, I tried to answer more questions because they were asking. I remember them giving me stickers because I was so young and loved them. But yeah, we were in the police station, and they were asking questions.
Okay, so you had to answer a bunch of questions about I was with my mommy and Pop-Up and Nani and whatever. Yeah, and your daddy. Did they give you anything? I mean, did they, I don't know why I remember this, but did they give you cookies or candy or fudge or something like that? Do you remember that? I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't remember that, but I remember having stickers, like they gave me stickers with to just make me happy and stuff. But I don't
Okay.
remember any treats.
Yeah. By the way, I messed up your age because you're already 10, right?
Yes, I'm 10.
I have 7 grandkids. I don't have a clue. I mean, whatever, right? So I'm an old guy. So sorry about that.
Okay.
But so I saw your face when I said it, and I started calculating in my mind. I think I said something wrong. You're very nice. So, but the truth is, the police helped you and were really, really kind to you, right?
Yes.
And do you remember? Do you remember how it happened? Did they go out searching for us, or did they come back? And did we come in? Do you remember how that happened? I'm just curious.
I remember mom and dad, well, everybody was like walking around and they're like, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my daughter? And they walked to the police station and they came in and they found me.
They said they had, and then we had to get a lawyer, didn't we? And we had to go to court so that they could get you out of the prison cell. Is that how that happened?
No, I did not.
All right. Well, Nola, I love you very, very much. And I'm very, very grateful that God gave you to me as my granddaughter. But more than anything, I'm really glad that you were safe in that experience.
Mm.
It can be a dangerous thing when parents and grandparents take their eyes off their grandkid, and when the grandkid starts looking at a horse and kind of gets lost, it can be a scary thing, right?
Yes.
So I'm really glad you're okay. But more than anything, thank you for joining us on Thursday Live. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, baby doll. You have a great day, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Bye.
Bye, honey. See ya. All right. Well, that's my granddaughter, Nola. And I just absolutely love her to death. And she is a big, important part of my life. Just so you know, I have, for those of you who are new to Northridge, we have a very, very special second camera on Thursday Live, and it's the Lincoln Cam. And so for all of you Lincoln lovers like me, I'm going to show you Lincoln's right there at my feet. He was sitting enthralled with the story of Nola and Nola's interview. But I just want you to know it's just a very, very important thing that we understand that real life offers all kinds of reminders and encouragements and warnings and lessons that can engage us as it relates to the quality of our lives, and more than anything, even in our spiritual lives, if we think beyond the experience. And as I was thinking this week about Thursday Live and my own spiritual life and my own spiritual situation, it's this story. In fact, I think it was my son Blake actually brought up the story, and it was like, oh my gosh, that is such an important spiritual reality that is there. And I don't know if you've already gotten it, but you probably have. But can I just tell you before I get there, it is an unbelievably heartwarming thing to be able to include in this personal forum, Thursday Live, someone that I love so much like my granddaughter Nola. It's just really an amazing thing. And if you're a parent or grandparent, you know what that's like. But I need to remind you that though we can forget this, it's how God feels about us. I mean, God's heart beats fast for us. God's heart is enlarged for us. God, when he sees us, when I saw Nola in that interview just now, I couldn't help but smile. I mean, I adore her. And that's how God feels about us. That's how God feels about you. But there are times when we have a sense of despair and grief and sadness and fear and disappointment. And we feel like, and it usually happens when we feel like God's turned his back on us, when God's not present, when God's far away, when, we're lost and we're confronting the harsh realities of life. We go from, like Nola did, the beauty of looking at a horsey and enjoying Mackinac, to fear and heartache because we get separated. She got separated from her mom and dad and her pop-up and nanny. And we feel that way profoundly when we get separated from the only one who can give us life and fullness and peace and contentment and meaning and security. He's, as the Bible says, our refuge and strength. And what's really sad to me, and what my whole life's been devoted to, really, if you're part of Northridge, and I know many of you who are part of Thursday Live aren't, but if you're part of Northridge, you know our mission is 16 words, and the first 6 are wake the world up to Jesus. I am committed to waking the world up to Jesus because the vast majority of people on this planet live in a constant state of anxiety and stress and grief and disappointment and heartache and brokenness and fear and insecurity because they're separated from the only one that can complete them in the way a parent can a child, and that's God. They need to know Jesus. But the truth is, even those of us who know Jesus can really get messed up on this whole idea of, being separated from God. We can feel like God's far away from us. We can feel like God's turned his back on us. We can feel like God's nowhere, in our sphere, that he's broken his promises and forgotten us. It's not true, but we can. And what I just thought I'd like to encourage you with, remember, this is Thursday Live. It's about just taking a breakaway moment from all the things that plague us and, bombard us, and reminding ourselves of the truth, which can set us free. And I just really, really want to remind you of the point. We took our eyes off of Nola for just a second. Just a second. And we had like trauma for 30 minutes or an hour. And we joke now about her getting arrested and getting thrown in the slammer, but it was a fearful time, and she was scared to death. But the spiritual application is that this is exactly what happens to us spiritually in our relationship with God, in our life here, because in a second, we can take our eyes off of Jesus and get lost, get disconnected. And that's when all the darkness of the world can capture us. That's when brokenness happens. That's when fear and insecurity and all the things that Nola experienced in that moment she was lost from us on Mackinac experienced. That's what we can experience. And it's in a second. And remember, she was just looking at horses and carriages. She wasn't doing anything wrong. And then she was lost. We were watching fudge get made and, all the crazy people that walk the streets of Mackinac, and we lost her. And that's how it happens spiritually. In a second, we take our eyes off of Jesus and we get lost. And I want to ask you, has there been a moment or two or many this week, in the past month, maybe in the past year and a half since the pandemic hit us, maybe even before that, has there been a moment or those moments when you've taken your eyes off of Jesus and now you feel lost? And we get mad at him. She could have been in the prison, why did my mommy and daddy do this to me? Why did my pop-up and nanny do this to me? It's like they forgot me. They did this. And the truth is, no, she turned and looked to a horse. And yes, we were watching Fudge thinking that she'd keep her eyes on us. But in a second, all that turmoil happened. And that's what happens in the moment we take our eyes off of Jesus, which is why the Bible consistently tells us that we need to put our eyes on him. And this is what I want to encourage you to do. If you're feeling a sense of insecurity, a sense of a lack of meaning or value, if you've lost contentment or peace, if you don't have the strength to fight through the challenge, if you've lost hope, if you really feeling like life has no joy and no light, and if you're feeling like you're not accepted and you're not loved, all that stuff that swirls around, and that's when we start getting filled with grief and anger and all the other things. I just want to remind you, there's one thing that can immediately fix it. Putting your eyes back on Jesus. Do you realize that with all the fear we experienced in that hour or so that Nola was lost on Mackinac Island, everything was fixed in the moment we found each other in that police station. The minute she saw her mom and dad, especially, and then Roxanne and myself, the minute she saw it, there was lingering tears, lingering effect, lingering memories, but everything was okay. And that's what can happen in our lives when we just reconnect, look back to him, which is why Hebrews chapter 12, and this is the verse that I want to share with you Thursday Live this week. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. I hope you'll keep this in mind. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." All the darkness, all the brokenness, all the sense of failure, all the shame, all the guilt. Let's throw it off. Let's get rid of it. Let's, shed ourselves from it. And we can do it because we know this great cloud of witnesses are all the people who've done it before. And how do we do it? How do we get past all of that junk and all of that grief and all of that brokenness? Well, verse 2, it says, fixing our eyes on Jesus. Hebrews 12:2. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. That's how verse 1 finishes. Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him. Fix your eyes on him. Keep your focus on him. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and you will not lose heart. So you don't sit in a police station, separated and broken and lost, grieving. Fix your eyes on him. I'm telling you, and I know some of you haven't yet found faith in Jesus. That's your entire search and your entire journey should be to get to the point where you can put your faith in Jesus, because that's the point that you find life as it was meant to be. And for those of us who have already followed Jesus, it's so easy for us to take our eyes off of him. We can fix our eyes on the brokenness of the world. We can fix our eyes on the disappointment in our lives. We can fix our lives on the challenges and difficulties we're facing, on the things that we've lost. We can fix our eyes on all the things that hurt, all the darkness, all the things that disappoint, and it just can break us. But what fixes it, just like for Nola, everything was fixed the minute she fixed her eyes back on us, on Mackinac Island. Everything in our life can come back into its proper perspective and place when we fix our eyes on him. Because I want to remind you, and this is really, really important, in him we have strength. In him we have peace. In him we have contentment. In him we have freedom, acceptance. In him we find victory. In him we have hope. And so we need to fix our eyes on him. And I want to tell you how much, in a minute I'm going to pray, but I want to tell you how much I appreciate you connecting with me on Thursday Live this week. And I want to encourage you to do it each week. But I want to remind you the single most important thing that I can do is encourage you to fix your eyes on him. The single most important thing you can do is fix your eyes on him, because the minute you take your eyes off of him, you lose everything that only he can give you, life and life to the full. And just remember my precious granddaughter, whom you just got to meet, Nola, and how much fear she was in that moment when she lost our eyes, and how everything was put back to normal again when she was with us again. It's exactly what can happen to you right now in this moment, no matter what you've been going through, no matter how bad it's been, if you'll do exactly what Hebrews 12 tells you to do. Let go of all the shame, all the guilt, all the failure, all the sin, all the darkness, all the things that have trapped you and haunted you and disappointed you, and fix your eyes on Jesus. And he'll put everything right. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to go perfectly. It doesn't mean the sun will always be shining. It won't. It doesn't matter. When you have your eyes fixed on him, that's what makes life complete. Nola doesn't care if we're on Mackinac Island or we're on vacation or we're at home or what's going on in life. If she's with us, life's great. And that's how it should be with us and God. Fix your eyes on Jesus. And that's my prayer for you this week. That's my encouragement to you. Can I pray for you? Fantastic. God, thank you so much that in Jesus we have everything we need. Jesus, because you died on the cross for our sin and guilt, we no longer have to carry the shame and the guilt of it. We can take it off. We don't have to live in the grief and brokenness and darkness of our lives. When we look to you, we can experience forgiveness and grace. And when we look to you, we can find strength and peace and contentment and meaning and beauty and hope and everything else only you can give. And so I pray for each one who's taking part in Thursday Live right now. Help each of us, by faith, to reconnect with you, to fix our eyes on you, and help us experience the joy, the relief, the comfort, the security that comes when a child, and that's what we are, reconnects with their parent, their father, their mother. You're our Father. Help us to connect with you. And I'll thank you for all you do in our lives. Be with each one who's been a part of this Thursday Live. Fill their life with grace and meaning, and let this moment in time be an encouragement to them. And I'll thank you for it. In Jesus' name. Again, I thank you so much for joining me on Thursday Live. I hope you enjoyed meeting Nola, my precious granddaughter. She's awesome. And Nola, if you're watching, thank you so very, very much for being a part of this. It was a blast having you. And more than anything, I hope that you'll stay connected with us. Don't forget, this weekend, we're continuing with the Northridge Summer Series. I hope you'll be a part of it. It's a great series. God's doing a lot of things in a lot of people's lives, but the only way we get impacted is if we attend. So I hope that you will. And as a little smile before I say goodbye, I want to share Lincoln with you. So there he is, my precious Lincoln, my buddy boy. There he is. Look at that. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great, great week. See you this weekend.